Hello, and welcome back to our Save the World tutorial videos. So someone commented saying that they learnt of an AFK Constructor build. That intrigued me, so I built one. Look at this. We're in a level 5 mission. I'm level 5. I've even leveled it up so the enemies are level 6 and they die immediately as soon as they step on here. So if you want to be able to AFK Ventures to get loads of XP, make sure you stick to the end of the video, because obviously you're going to need to know how to build this, you're going to need to know the hero loadout, all that good stuff. So yeah, strap yourselves in for a beautiful tutorial. Okay, so for the hero loadout, there's a bit of wiggle room here, so I'm going to show you the 6 heroes that I think are important to use for this. All constructors. I personally think the electrified floors is the best one to use as your commander, but as I say, you can swap them out, whatever works best for you. But yeah, the main hero in this build, I think that's the most important, is electrified floors. So if you have them as your commander, enemies that stand on the structures in the base take 38 energy damage every 5 seconds, which is 3 times what it takes if this is a standard perk. So if they're just, a side hero in your loadout. So that's why I think it's most important, because this is what's going to be killing most of the enemies, right? If we're avoiding placing too many traps down and so on. Then we've got Mega Base, so I appreciate not everyone will have this. It's not too important to have, and as I say, you could have this as your main hero if you do have him, as it increases it by 3 instead of 1. But I don't think it's as important, because we don't need the area to be that massive, really. But he's useful to have in there. Next up, we have power modulation. So as I go through these, obviously some of these perks are on a lot of different heroes, and some of them are unique to just one hero, like Mega Base, for example. So I appreciate not everyone will have all these, but as I say, these are just the core ones that I think work best for the build. But yeah, structures that are affected by the base are healed 4% every 10 seconds. You can get it up to 11% if you have this as your main hero, but we're not really going to be taking that much damage, so again, I don't think it's that important. The next one, Frozen Castle, another unique one to the Frost King. So enemies standing on structures affected by base are snared by 15%. If you make him your commander, enemies attacking stuff affected by the base get frozen for 4 seconds, so it would kind of be useful. Maybe if you get into higher levels, it might be useful to whack him as the main hero, because then the enemies will actually get frozen, when they get close to the objective. Next up, we have increased building health by 28%, or 84 if you have him as your main hero, but again, I really don't think you need him as the main one. Just having a little bit of extra building health is useful, but not as necessary as damaging the enemies with the floor. Obviously, that's the main part of this build. And then finally, we have enemies that melee attack the structures affected by base take 15 base damage, or it can go up to 44 damage if you're main hero. So it's going to do a bit more damage when they actually hit it, but not that many enemies are going to make it towards the objective. The main part of this build, once again, reiterating, is, affecting them as they walk up to the objective. So, as I say, I think the best thing to have as the main hero is electrified floors. Not sure if there's another hero for this. I have Thunder Thora. I think it might be unique to her, but there might be a few others that you can get it with in the event, people, for constructors. Now for the team perk, it's up to you really. I've got increased damage of traps affected by base for each constructor, so this is going to get times by 5, which is going to give us 42.5% extra damage. So if we place wall spikes on the objective, floor spikes around, if you place any ceiling traps, you don't have to, but it would make it a lot easier, and this is going to boost that. If you're not placing any traps whatsoever, I would probably just go for a recycling perk on this, which works well with a constructor build, so you can just get some of your metal back for next time, I guess, if you want. There's a few things you can go about it. It's not overall that important. The main thing is the electrified floors and getting some of the extra health healing. The healing is one of the more important ones as well. So yeah, there's the build for it. So for the missions you're going to be able to do with this build, it is going to be easier on the missions without any mission alerts, because obviously as you get more mission alerts, you can get adjustments that make enemies heal each other, they do more damage to metal and it corrodes it, that type of thing. So be sensible with it. It's not going to work on absolutely every type of mission, and you're not going to be able to load into a level 15 mission as a level 5 and, you know, just be able to AFK it perfectly. Do use some sense with it. Now, a regular mission like this with a mini boss, this is the one we're going to load into, to really test how well it does with the mini boss. But depending on what the mini boss has as it, you know, stats, you might need to kill them. But as I say, the best way is to just go on the regular ones, level them up with blue glow a bit, so you get more of the Venture XP as the reward, and then, you know, you're good to go. But yeah, we'll load into the Fight the Storm level 5. As you can see, I am power level 5. Actually, we'll make it private so we don't get any randoms joining. I just realised I should make that random. If you are finding this useful, by the way, please do consider commenting, liking, subscribing, all that good stuff. Thank you so much. So what I like to do is, once I've found the objective, just clear the area. It just makes things so much easier. And then if we go ahead and place it down, now when you're in the lower areas, you're only going to get one direction to be attacked for, especially for a mission like this, you know, Fight the Storm. So we can see that over there is where the enemies will spawn. When you go higher up, you will get attacked from 4 directions, so it will rotate round. So if it started there, you'd then get attacked, you know, like over there somewhere, over there, and then over there. 2 minutes each with an 8-minute defense. So the best way to go about this on an atlas where you can't place walls on it, obviously if we're in the data mission, what you want to do is just build walls around it. We can't do that on this one. All we're going to do is build like this. This will act as something for the enemies to hit, which will then get affected by a base we can put on top of the objective here. So then when they hit it, they take the damage from the perk from the hero that we showed. It is advised to level up at least these ones to level 3. Probably not necessary on the lower missions, but as you go higher up, you will need it. Now, I'm not going to go too in-depth in the actual build, because, you know, that could be a different video. But for example, this area here, we can completely stop them from going in this bit just by doing this, and then they'll go here instead. Same at the other side. Because we are next to a cliff, you know, enemies are not going to want to come in here. If we do this, for example, and then if we do the same here, like that. So again, on this one, we're only going to get attacked from the one direction, so I don't need to go too overboard with it. But if you were building, for example, for all the directions, you know, you would have to be ready to be attacked from up these stairs and then to come here. But now that we've got that placed down, the main part of the build is going to be the floors. So again, I'll just build a little bit here, just because, you know, if you were in an alt mission, you'd want to build all sides. In fact, let's place the base down just to give you a little bit of a teaser, because we have some, you know, random enemies spawning just from the mission. He's dead. He's died already, right? That enemy just died. You didn't even see him. That's how quickly it was. But yeah, because we're getting attacked from this direction, I will just spread this out like so across here. Let's just destroy this, get some metal back. You don't have to go too far out, so I mean, really, you know, this is pretty far because the base isn't even affecting it. And because of where the objective is, you know, I'd probably go ahead and put the base down here or something. Because we are only getting attacked from here, we don't need to cover that side as much. But yeah, if I do this, because I believe it probably still is a bug, but if you have floors here with the ramps, if you didn't have these walls, the enemies could just walk through the corner, so you need them placed in to stop them. Which, if I place this back up here now, this base probably would reach a bit further than it did before. So, you know, it's not too far. So, again, if you want to make Mega Base Carl your main hero, that's up to you. But what I'm going to do is place it down here. Now, I probably won't need any floor spikes, just because of how low level this is. So, I'm just going to go ahead and start up the mission, and I'll show you how beautiful this is. In fact, I'll increase the difficulty as well because I have an extra blue glow. Doesn't really do too much, you know, it just goes from 5, you know, level 5 enemies to level 6 instead. But as you see them come in, you're going to see this work beautifully. And the enemies are just going to get zapped pretty much as soon as they step on it. There you go. Again, we're in a really low mission right now, so obviously it's a bit easier to show how this works. But as these enemies get attacked and killed, those made it further because they had a shielder on them. But yeah, as I show this, what I can do is explain a bit more about future-proofing. So obviously, the higher up the go, the more different enemies you're going to get. You'll start getting flingers, lobbers, so you will have to place down anti-air traps or a lobber shield. Either way, because if you don't, you may come into troubles. The thing is, if a flinger did fling on top of this, the enemy would land and then die to the electricity. You just need to make sure that you level up these ceilings if you are doing you know, higher missions. Level them up to level 3, and then lobbers and flingers, they can attack it, but we've got armor from the base, we've got increased building health, and we've got repairing, you know, every 10 seconds. So I think you would be alright. I'd probably still put down a few anti-air traps just to be on the safe side. But then, also to that, you end up getting stuff like smashers and mini bosses, and the higher level you go, the harder they are to kill with just this build. So when it comes to that side, what you can do is for the smashers, you can be there to kill them. You could play as someone that has, say, Rosie, for example, and then, oh, that guy's dancing, fair enough. You have someone with Rosie, and you could kill the smashers with the Rosie cannon. He's dead. Did he break this a little bit? Yeah. And then now it's back to full again because of the healing. Just showing off the different, you know, parts of the build. And yeah, so another hint I want to give while we're in this sort of area is, as you can see, the enemies are coming across this 3-wide area, which means, you know, we'd have to, say we did put traps down, so wooden floor spikes, we'd have to place it here, here, here. When I go into public venture missions, what I see all the time is people building this around it, and then they place wooden floor spikes on every single floor around it. That takes so many, it's so inefficient. What you can do is, you don't even need to be out of metal either, you can just do this, and then do this. You don't even need stairs behind it, but typically I do put stairs and then a wall. Stairs and a wall. You can do it without the wall and then you can climb up the stairs, but that's not advised because if you then climb up here, the enemies are more incentivized to break, you know, through the wall that guy was about to. But yeah, now that we've done this, if we wanted to place some wooden floor spikes to do more damage as we go to a higher mission, or let's say I wanted to load into a, you know, power level 15 mission as a power level 5 in the ventures, you'd be able to do that more easily by having this, and we only have to use one trap instead of 1, 2, 3. Obviously there's a flank round here. Now in this case you could probably get away with just blocking it like this, right? And then most enemies will then come round here and you won't see any trying to go around this way. Either that or just put another one floor spike. There you go. As I say, if you had multiple directions you'd have to build. I'll just show another example. So we could block this, for example, at this side, and then block here like this, and then you'd have them concentrated coming through this bit. Put wooden floor spikes on if you wanted. The only problem is when you get attacked down here, you will need to allow them to come up here. So, you know, you have to take these things into consideration. So I'd probably do something like that. Then the enemies could come through here. When you have, go away. When you have a ramp like this, this is a perfect area where you know every single enemy spawning down here is going to come up this ramp. So what would be perfect is to put wooden floor spikes at the bottom, on the ramp going up, or at the top. You know every single enemy is going to walk over this because they're going to have to come up here. So that'd be, oh, there's another. Oh, he's not the mini boss. He's, oh, okay, fair enough. He's going to be a bit more difficult to deal with, I bet. But we've only got 2 minutes left anyway at this point, haven't we? So we'll just probably let him do his thing. He is tearing through it a bit faster though. So as I say, I'm just going to shoot these guys. So yeah, as I say, when you come to these missions, I'm just going to heal that. I would probably want to kill this guy. When you get to the higher levels with the epic mini-boss, it does become a bit more difficult because we're probably not going to be able to deal with it just with the AFK base. We are going to need a bit more. So as I say, I don't suggest doing missions with alerts that have, you know, mini-boss, what have you. Some alerts you can get away with, but my main goal would be to go into regular missions without the, you know, the time icon in the corner, and do those missions. I'm just gonna deal with this guy. Oh, I've pushed him inside. do the regular missions and level them up, because, you know, you've seen this build is dealing with level 6 enemies really easily, and I am level 5. So you could level this up to, you know, 10 by going for the 6. I'm just want to get my rewards here, might as well. But yeah, there you go. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next guide video. Obviously, be sure to comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and thank you so much for watching.